What they don't tell you about when you start decentering men in your life is that you'll stop being able to relate to so many people and so many different types of conversations. When I was constantly dating and constantly having crushes, I was able to relate to so many of my friends. I was able to relate to this larger cultural zeitgeist of like single woman culture. Now that I've stopped dating and I've stopped centering men in my life, I really have very, very few, almost no people to relate to, because people aren't posting about decentering men as much as they are about being single and wanting to date. So it makes the process of decentering men and pursuing dating a little bit more lonely and isolated. And it's just interesting.
Hey, so how are you? What's new? Not too much, just been really busy. Yeah, are you dating anyone new? No, actually I'm not. Not dating anyone right now? No, not really. You're not even talking to anyone? What about your ex? Have you heard from him at all? No, actually I blocked him. Wow. Yeah, it's actually been really nice. I feel like my life is so peaceful. That's cool. That's good. It's been really nice. What about you? What's new with you? What have you been working on? What's going on in your life? Not too much really. Um what about you? What's new with you? Well, I've been working on launching this new online store, so I'm really excited about that. I started an online book club. I'm coming up with a workout plan. Like I did this workout plan for myself, and I'm really excited because I feel like if it's effective, I'm gonna like share it online with everyone so everyone can kind of like use it. I also spent the other day, like the entire day, like a full 8 hour workday, completely mapping out my life plan for the entire year, and it's got me really excited. Huh, that's really cool. I love that. Yeah, so uh are you dating anyone right now? Oh my God. Okay, so I'm talking to these like five guys, and four of them are really stressing me out. And I was just like, and then my ex is coming back, and I'm just like, oh my God. And then there's this one guy that lives in another state that I don't know, he's like really rude to me, but I don't know why I keep talking to him for some reason.
Hey ladies, I'm back with another video, and in this video I wanted to cover this topic I saw trending a couple days ago on TikTok of women honestly discussing the harsh realities of disentering men. And I'm not gonna lie, I found this side of the conversation a lot more refreshing because of the level of transparency that was being offered by a lot of these women coming online and talking about the reality of what it is like when you are actively disentering men in your life. And like the first woman indicated, there's so much more conversation around singleness and being partnered than there is around disentering, especially in real life. So, a lot of the times when you are a single woman and you're navigating life and you are not making getting in a relationship or being with a man your primary goal in life or something that you are actively aspiring towards, you will find that it's hard to relate to most people in general. And one reason why I love this conversation is because when people get online and they talk about, I'm going to dissenter men and this is how I'm going to dissenter men, you legitimately cannot do that without also having to dissenter like probably 99.9% of the other people in your life, because while you may be focused on dissentering men, more than likely the average person that you encounter, like friends, family members, they're not on that same wavelength, and they're not even really going to understand where you're coming from when you tell them that you're on a journey to focus more so on yourself and you're not really focused on men or getting with a man or being in a relationship. They're not really going to understand that, right? And I that's why I love the second clip, because that conversation perfectly captured like the average conversation that you will have with one of your girlfriends who is not on the same wavelength as you, where they are just totally unable to even relate to the conversation or add anything of value, and they're just waiting for you to bring up men or dating so they can start telling you about all of their struggles and issues that they're having on the dating market. Meanwhile, when you're talking to them and they're asking you, oh, what's up with you? You're Tell them about everything that you have going on at your job, your hobbies that you have going on, the latest place that you traveled to, or even just any passion projects that you may be working on in the background. It's like if the conversation is not centered upon dating, men, or anyone that you're trying to pursue romantically, most people are mentally checking out, right? Because that's what majority of people's focus is on. Men and women, their focus is always on being partnered, being together, dating, pursuing someone, pursuing multiple people. And this is something that I feel like women that are on a decentering journey, we encounter all the time. We encounter this inability to relate to the average person because they just don't understand that for some of us, our world and life and esteem does not revolve around romantic attachment to a man. So I'm going to get into some other stitches that are going to continue to explore this dynamic and why it exists. And at the end, I'm going to also come back with some tips on how to actually have a successful decentering journey. And then I'm going to come back with some final thoughts.
When you tell people that you are single, you have no roster, you not trying to build a roster, like you are completely content in your singleness, why is it always a shock factor? Like, most people cannot grasp the thought of being alone, like the thought of actually being with themselves and spending time, like months and years with themselves, like not actually dating nobody. I know they be saying like everybody got somebody, baby. No, my phone is dry. If it ain't my family, my friends, or that one dude that I got blocked to be calling me from random numbers, ain't nobody calling me. No man. And then they immediately start trying to give you sympathy. And I'm like, baby, I don't need that. Save your pity for somebody that actually needs it, okay? I am content and I'm happy with where God has me in life at this current moment. And when my husband come, baby, he gonna come swoop me off my feet, so I'm gonna know it's him. But it's just like, I feel like a lot of people are very codependent. They don't know how to be alone, so they jump from relationship to relationship, or they always got to be talking to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, people don't think it's possible to just be existing and not be entertaining nobody. Like, the way the dating world is set up right now, I feel like it's very possible that a lot of people are just, just out here living a single life. Because, baby, when I tell you the men that I have encountered over the past few times when I did try to hop on these dating apps and try to date and stuff like that, baby, I could do better by myself. You hear me? And I'm not just gonna be entertaining nobody just because I'm bored. I'm sorry. I don't have no conversation for you. But yeah, have y'all experienced that? Because it's kind of cringy to me when I tell you that I'm single. I'm just cool with not dating or whatever. Like, I don't need the questions of, oh, are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you just not wanting to date? Like, I don't need those follow-up questions. Like, can we just be content with the answer and let's move along?
I say this with full love for men, but the reality is that men are draining by default. That the default assumption that you need to make for a man in your life is that he is not the source. In fact, he is draining. He is draining by default. He is going to drain your time, your energy, your compassion, and your love. He is going to drain your beauty and your youth and all the resources that you have. Men are draining by default. Even the best men I know are tremendous amounts of labor and tremendous amounts of risk. That just having a man in your life is going to bring you more labor. It's going to be your domestic labor, your emotional labor, your spiritual labor, because as women, we are the source, which means that we are giving by default. Women bring value to men by default, by all that we pour into them naturally, that we give to their well-being, to the beauty, to the joy, to their every single aspect of their experience in life. A woman by default, just your average run-of-the-mill woman, not even trying that hard, maybe not even that invested. By default, the default setting of woman is to bring value. Just you hugging a man, just you paying attention and listening to a man, just you caring for a man, let alone all the things that I'm sure you probably are so thoughtful and so considerate and so generous and so giving and spend so much time coaching him and counseling him and loving him and lifting him up. All these things by default without even trying, we do. Not to mention, you're going to be making his health better, his house better. You're going to be introducing him to your friends. You're going to be giving him fun, amazing things to be doing on the holidays. You might be giving him children so he's not alone in his old age. You're going to be amplifying his status in the eyes of his coworkers, his colleagues, other women. He is touch-starved. He is lonely. No one is paying attention to him except you. Because you are doing these things, he has that in his life, and that is so valuable, and men are draining by default. They are going to take your time, your energy, your love. And the way that they counterbalance this is if a man starts pouring back into you by appreciating you as the source. That is how this is balanced, is a man who recognizes that you are the source and pours into you, sees you, loves you, uplifts you, appreciates you. And that is the only way that this value exchange is made right and true and honest, is by him recognizing you as a source, appreciating you for everything that you're doing, and honoring that sacred exchange. And when you are assessing a man in your life, do not close your eyes to this value exchange and really assess reality.
Am I tripping, or did everything suddenly start getting centered around men? Or has it always been centered around men? Because why am I watching perfume recommendations and people are saying, oh yeah, and by the way, men love this scent combo. Here's a scent combo to make him fall in love with you. Do your nails like this so men can like this. Wear the color pink so you come off more soft and dainty and feminine to him. How to talk to him nicely. How to talk him through it. Who gives a fuck?
All right, y'all. So I have so much to say about those last 3 clips. Y'all, I had to bust out my notes. But starting with the last woman who spoke on how only now she's noticing that everything seems to center around men. And she referenced the perfume advertisement and how the focus of it was on what scents are most attractive to men and what scent a man would like to smell on a woman. And I think there might be a slight generation gap thing with her thinking that this was a newer phenomenon, because when I think about magazines back in the day like Glamour, Cosmopolitan, or even Teen Bop, majority of articles in those magazines were always centered on getting male attention and male validation. And it was always articles like, top 10 ways to drive your man wild in the bedroom, or how to know if your crush likes you, or hairstyles that your man will love. And these were magazines that used to be aimed at like very young women. So those kinds of targeted male-centered marketing tactics, they're nothing new, and it's been around forever. But I think because of the 4B movement, decentering, and even sprinkle sprinkle, it's like just now opening the eyes to the average woman to the fact that most things in this life are centered around women chasing after male attention and validation. So that also brings me to the next point about the other woman who was talking about how whenever she tells people that she's single or not focused on dating, that people will make a big deal out of it. I mean, y'all, when she said that people will ask her, are you okay? Is everything all right? I felt that, okay? Like, I really felt that, because don't let you be an attractive young lady content with being on your own. People will literally look at you like you have 2 heads, like you are crazy for not being partnered with anyone and being content with being single or on your own. Like, they will really assume something is wrong with you. Have you ladies ever encountered this kind of reaction? I know we kind of touched on this in the Embrace Being Single video, but I think even beyond going through a season of singleness, like when you are not having your romance centered in your life, like you're genuinely just focused on self-improvement and you're not pursuing anyone, people just don't get it. And in my experience, a lot of that pressure and judgment from other people is usually coming from other women. Unfortunately, it's usually coming from other women. At least in my life, that's what I've experienced. And it's usually other women who are in relationships that are not even the best, which brings me to the final point, circling back to what the woman said about men being draining. I agree with that. Like, men are draining and are a hassle to deal with a good majority of the time. However, the same women that you'll encounter that will be pressuring you into dating or being partnered, they know that. Like, they know how draining men are to be with. But for some reason, they will still want to engage in these circular conversations, like the one in the beginning of the video. They will still want to engage in these circular conversations where they're just ranting and venting about their tragic dating lives with men and all the men that are like stringing them along. They will know that it's draining, but they will still want to engage in those kind of conversations about the men that they're aspiring to get with. And I don't know about y'all, but I do not have time for that. And I find people in general, people who only center their conversations around men and dating and romantic relationships, they are just as draining as the men themselves. So the last thing I wanted to leave off with on a high note was just some tips on how to successfully decenter men in your life if you are indeed on a journey to do so. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Here is how you are going to stop centering your life around men and really learn to be more independent and not care so much about relationships or the boyfriend that you already have if you are someone who you maybe struggle with being really codependent in a relationship. There's a lot of conversation going on TikTok about the 4B movement because things are getting kind of scary for women in the US. So I feel like this is a really good time to make this video. And I am once again whipping out the iPad notes, so let's talk about it. Something that you really need to learn and get yourself in the mindset of when trying to be more independent and not really centering your life around romantics or dating is that you need to stop measuring your self-worth based on your romantic life and your dating life. Having a boyfriend does not add to your value, if that makes sense. You as a person hold so much more value in the things that are you, not the person that you're choosing to spend your life with or to move in with, etc. I think that unfortunately women are kind of taught that at the end of the day, you need to be a wife, you need to be a mom, whatever. And so women kind of get this idea in their head that having a boyfriend, and especially getting an attractive boyfriend, a boyfriend of status, is what adds value to you as a woman. And it's just not true. And once you kind of learn that your dating life and who you are dating does not have anything to do with how much you are worth, you start to allow more room in your life to really work on yourself and to focus more on you. And I think in more extreme cases, there are women who their only identity is being a girlfriend, being a fiance, being a wife, because they put so much immense value in if they are in a relationship or not. And a lot of times you'll see that these women are really uncomfortable with being single because they think that without a boyfriend or a partner, that they are not worth as much. Another thing that's really important that I don't think a lot of women think of is that you need to have hobbies. You need things in your life that bring you immense joy beyond just spending time with another person. I feel like there's a serious lack of people having hobbies and really putting value into having hobbies. And you see this a lot in women who kind of struggle with codependency. Once they start dating someone, they may neglect their hobbies or the things they like to do for fun. And this is definitely a mistake. Hobbies keep you busy. They improve your self-esteem. They improve your mental health. They help you to be more independent because they keep you busy. Especially having hobbies that you can do entirely by yourself. You could have the most nerdy or dorky or weird hobbies, and that is still a million times better than not having hobbies at all. Kind of going off of having hobbies that you can do entirely alone, you need to start enjoying your alone time. Start doing things by yourself. Take yourself on solo dates. If there's something that you can think of that you've always wanted to do, but you feel like you have to do it with someone else, I guarantee you that you don't. Take yourself to that restaurant that you've always wanted to try. It's okay to go alone. No one is judging you. I know that it can kind of feel like people might be looking at you and wondering like, why is that girl alone? But I'm telling you right now, no one is thinking that. And I think it's really cool actually when a girl can take herself out on dates just for herself. It's a really big sign of independence and confidence, honestly. And it's one of those little things that you can do to really enjoy just being by yourself. And then the last thing is to start putting more effort into your platonic relationships. This is especially true for women who get into a relationship and maybe struggle with that kind of codependence, hyperfixation, getting really obsessed with their boyfriend. Your friends and your family are just as important as any romantic partner, whether it's just a boyfriend or a husband, it doesn't matter. These platonic social relationships bring a lot of value into your life. So don't neglect your friends. You need to put genuine effort into those people just like you would for a boyfriend. And when it comes to not centering your life around men, if you can genuinely build these social platonic relationships with people and see the immense value in them, you're gonna feel so fulfilled from that you don't really care to try to date and try to get a boyfriend.